Hatsy and I'm back with a special build video, which is a collaboration with a very good friend of mine, which is Molly, aka the English Simmer. So she's going to be doing the whole of the interior for this build and I'm really excited for it. She's going to be sharing it after Halloween, and to be fair, this video is probably going to be shared after Halloween anyway, partly because of my bad internet connection, and yeah, I mean, also because I think we've both had like plans and stuff since City Livings came out, so we've been pretty busy for that. But it's good though, because after City Living comes out, even if you don't have City Living, you should still be able to download this build absolutely fine. And I think if you do, it will have the haunted trait, which would be so cool, and it would have the whole effect of an actual haunted house. So I think the collab came from the idea that we've been wanting to do one for a while, and it was just like finding the right time. And because we both like scary things, I thought doing a spooky build together would be really cool, because when Molly and I tend to get together, we talk about really creepy stuff that's happened to us in the past. And we sort of bond over that, which is really interesting because I don't have many friends I can talk about that sort of stuff with. So she's absolutely perfect to talk about ghost stories with. And we sort of swap stories, which is really cool. And I think that it goes really nicely with this build. But I do have a ghost story that I want to share. I think I'll be sharing it maybe in November, potentially December, I don't know. It depends when I go to my new house because the plans keep getting delayed, like of when I'm actually moving in. So as soon as I move to the new house, as soon as I get my camera back, etc., all the stuff set up, then I can. But until then, I've just got to keep doing like faceless videos, which it's killing me. I want to do face cams. It's requested on the channel so much, and it would just be really amazing to be able to bring them back. So fingers crossed I can share my spookiest experience with you like as soon as I can. So basically, I've had loads of spooky things that have happened like to me and also to my family. The one that I'm going to be talking about on the separate video, I swear, it could take The Conjuring for a run for its money. It's like, I repeat it to people and they say that it's the worst ghost story they've ever heard in their life, and not in the way that it's like really bad and not scary at all. So I'm excited to share that, but until then, I'm going to talk about my parents' current house at the moment. So basically, they live in Switzerland, and they live in a very old house, which has been converted, but this house is about 500 to 600 years old. It's on the border of Switzerland, and it's actually got a book about it. Like, it's so old that someone's actually written a book about it. But it's a beautiful house, but oh my goodness, it's so creepy. And the weirdest thing is, every single person that's been in that house has had an experience in it. So it started with the disappearance of the cutlery. Now that might sound absolutely ridiculous, but I swear it wasn't just like a spoon or one knife or one fork. It was all spoons. We don't have a single spoon in that house, and God knows where they've gone. We've had no idea, and all of a sudden they appeared like straight back in the cupboard a few months after. So at first my mum thought, well, it's probably my dad messing around or something, or maybe she's misplaced them. But that was really odd. And then it happened with like the forks and the knives, and then they just like appear back for no current reason. And it's even weirder because I've moved out, and there was a time when like I was living there with my husband, and it's difficult because when so many people live in a house, of course things can go missing, but when there's like 2 people living there, really? Can things go missing that much? But yeah, anyway, that was one. The second one was my sister noticed that her toothbrush and toothpaste was like going missing and she couldn't find it, and she actually found it on a wooden beam in the attic, which is really weird, but nobody was in at the time, so the only person that could have done it was her, and she wasn't joking. Like, she didn't have a joking face on her when she said my stuff is just like in the attic placed on the wooden beams. And it didn't happen like once, it happened with like loads of her items just like up there for no reason. So that was pretty creepy. And then this happened to me. So this is like the last experience in the house that I'll share, because like loads of stuff's happened, but I'm just going to give you the rundown of it. I found that I was speaking to my mum one day, and there's a sliding door separating the lounge and the dining room. And I swear, I was talking to my mum. She was in the lounge and I was just like sort of sitting down in the dining room and I was just talking to her, but there was a sliding door separating us and there was like a couple of inches, I guess, that I could sort of see into the lounge where the sliding door wasn't completely closed, but I could definitely see that she was in the room, or like there was somebody in the room dressed in black, which was a colour that my mum was wearing, I think, anyway, but she tends to wear black, so I just sort of assumed it was her. And whoever was in there was walking around the room making noise. And I think that they were ruffling the pillows. That's what it sounded like. And eventually she shouted me from upstairs. So I opened that sliding door and there was nobody there. But I swear I saw someone. So yeah, that house is like really creepy. But if you don't believe in that sort of stuff, that's absolutely fine. To be honest, I just like sharing spooky stories, like especially when I'm doing a spooky build. It's just like the perfect time to share it. But if they're not your cup of tea, like if you don't believe that stuff, you can find a reason for everything. Like I'm sure you could say that it was like a shadow. You could say that my sister put the toothbrush upstairs and you could do all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, that is my creepy story of that house. But I wrote down some really weird stuff that's happened to some of my family members as well, because a lot of people in my family, like my grandparents and my uncle as well, have had experiences. So I know that my granddads have both seen something because they've told me about it. And a really weird thing is the fact that their stories are very similar to one another. Like they've both had somebody sat at the end of their bed, like as a child. And yeah, it sounds super creepy. The one story which I really liked, it's not exactly a ghost story, but it's really creepy. And I thought it was like a perfect story to share, especially as I would imagine like loads of creepy pictures to be in this build. But it's of my uncle's experience. Now, my uncle's an artist and he is a fantastic artist. He's probably one of the best artists, if not the best artist like I've ever seen paint a picture. He's absolutely fantastic. He paints some fantastic pieces of artwork. And he decided to paint these buildings that he saw in Spain, and he was painting all night and then he went upstairs to bed and then he went down in the morning to carry on his painting, and it turned out that the painting had developed some really weird people in the windows. Now I think it was where the paint actually dried, or maybe it sort of changed as the night went on, I don't know. But it's weird. So they were not intended to be there whatsoever, and I completely believe him when he says, like, I honestly had no idea that was going to happen. But I think it's a really interesting story. Hopefully, I will have a picture at the end of the video to show you. I will try my best to get it there. But yeah, so you can hopefully see what I mean by that. But there's some of my ghost stories, and I haven't shared them all. I've only shared like some of them. I was struggling to think of them because I honestly tell so many. I know hundreds, absolutely hundreds of people in my family that have gone through stuff and experiences of my own as well, which is really weird. And you could put them down to anything. You could say that it was so many different things, but I always think that it's pretty cool to imagine what if though, especially for Halloween, because it's a really cool time to share that sort of stuff. The build idea was to make a spooky haunted castle, and it was just supposed to have just really interesting features that I would think would be typically on a spooky castle or like surrounding it. So we have some smoke by the end and there's like a blood moat, etc. So it's supposed to look really creepy. If it's not your sort of build, that's absolutely fine. You can go over to one of my like other builds and you can go and see that it's really normal. But for Halloween, I mean, come on, we only get like one opportunity to do this, or like, I guess we get a whole month's opportunity to do this, but I haven't, unfortunately. But no, I love it, and I wanted to make this build really creepy, so that was my intentions. Like, the creepiest I can make this build, the better. Anyway though, a really weird, creepy story that somebody told me a while ago, and it's literally just came to me. But a while ago, I was told by somebody that I worked with that they had a very creepy experience happen to them. And they actually told me the experience, I think, a day after it happened. And they told me that they were driving back home with their sister. And they lived in a place, I think it's called Clibbery Mortimer, and it's in England, a very countryside place with not much going on. I don't think, I mean, I'm not one for Clibbery, like I haven't been there in a very long time, so I just remember fields, like that's pretty much all I remember when going past there. But they told me they were driving home past these fields and they noticed this really old car in front of them. And the signals started to go off to her. She was thinking, okay, this is a little bit strange. I mean, this is a car that you wouldn't really see out in everyday life. It was a very old car, probably like, I guess, just a really old traditional vintage car. But this car apparently was very rickety and she was driving very close to it and getting a little bit impatient because it was going quite slowly. And every single time they would go up and down these hills because it's a very bumpy road. So their car would go up, the other car would go down. And it kept going up and down as they went across driving down this very long road. So there was a massive dip in the road where like there was this huge hill and there was like a huge dip underneath. And their car went up, the car went down. And apparently after the car went down this hill, it was not seen again. Like that car literally vanished. And she immediately slammed the brakes on because she was thinking, oh my gosh, like this car's just disappeared like right in front of me. So they were going past really slowly down these fields, but there was nowhere that that car could have turned off to. The only possible place was the fact that it was the field left of it. So anyway, she got really creeped out because of this and she did some research on the road, and it actually turned out that an accident happened on that road in that car, like that she saw. There was a picture in the newspaper of that car. That's somebody's story to me. I don't know like how true those details are, but she was pretty shaken up when she was telling me the story, and she was a really nice girl to work with, so I'm not going to doubt her, you know, hey, it's a story. But I would absolutely love to know if you have any ghost stories or any creepy stories of your own in the comments below, because this stuff to me is just super interesting. I love to hear people's experiences, and it's something that I think will be really interesting, like when I can do more face cam videos, more personal videos, because I definitely want to do more experience stories like this, and I think that it will be a really cool addition to the channel. So anyway, going back to the build, because I pretty much talked all the way through it. So this is when I was doing some pretty landscaping around it. I wanted it to look quite nice in the daytime, but very creepy at night. Once it's got the full effects of the smoke and just everything together, it looks really good. It's a shame that we don't have a creepy world. I think personally that we will get a supernatural expansion. I haven't been told that, like we don't get told information. I mean, I think that people honestly think that YouTubers get told all this information, and no, it's not how it works. Like we go to these events and we get told some amazing stuff about current expansion packs, but we don't know what's coming up. Like I can't predict the future, I don't know, but I do actually think that one of the next expansions will be a supernatural EP, and that is because I have been looking at the world recently. I've got my own theory about the world. I was going to do a video on it, but I just don't have enough information yet, and I'm just sort of building it up. But basically, my thoughts are that we are going to get an expansion pack which would be like really creepy, and to my knowledge we've already had some concept art done of creepy things that could be in a possible expansion pack for Sims 4, and it would just make sense because a lot of the artwork surrounding the world, particularly Willow Creek, is very creepy, so they could actually recycle that and they could put it into an expansion rather than make a brand new expansion. It would make sense, like, and it would also join those worlds together a bit, which I think they're doing, but I mean, I will talk about that in another video. Anyway though, I was adding the last details to the build. I was also changing some light colours, which really helped it have the whole creepy effect. And I didn't actually do that with my build last year. I did a build last year for Halloween, and that was when I pretty much first started my channel. So that was something that I forgot. But the house that I built a year ago was actually the house that I'm using in my current Let's Play, which is really weird. But I'm using it for Adam Fairwell's house. So if you watch Let's Play Witches, then you will see that massive castle being used every now and then. But it's a really old build that I did. And I don't know, I think my old builds are just really nice to be able to use because it just brings back memories for me. It was a year ago. So yeah, I mean, my early YouTube days, it was really fun to build it. Anyway though, I think that's pretty much the end of the build. So what I was doing is, just to finish this part, I was changing the last little bit before I stopped the video. And I don't know why this bit's like super slow, I have no idea. But I think somebody forgot to speed things up here. At least you can see it though, at least you can see just me going over in the wallpapers and what wallpapers I used. I think I decided to do like red in the end, because red looks really frightening in my opinion. Red and black colours on a creepy mansion is just the worst combination. And when I say worst, I mean just creepy. Anyway though, that is the end of the build. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and please don't forget to go and check Molly's channel out. It will be in the description below, and I'll speak to you all soon.